Hello everyone, I'm back with a brand new video, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Series 154 main event series CM Punk figure. This figure is of course a very retro Punk figure, as you can see, with the long hair, the very long hair, and looks like it's from circa 2000, I would say 2008, 2009 Punk. When I really look at this figure, it brings me in the mind of 2000 and actually it was those years, because those were the years of the Straight Edge Society. And if you of course are a fan during the Ruthless Aggression era, fan of going back about a decade, a little more than a decade ago, CM Punk he went through a lot of unique phases in WWE career. He came up through ECW, the ECW relaunch brand, then kind of got the rocket strapped to him pretty quickly, more so than what history would have you to believe, with his background as an ROH indie guy. But he won 2 Money in the Bank matches, actually won them consecutively in 2008 and 2009, I believe, becoming the only wrestler to win 2 Money in the Banks consecutively, if I'm correct, and one of the few, and maybe the only one to win 2, period. And then Straight Edge Society, then he had a good heel run against Jeff Hardy. Then we had really good heel run against Jeff Hardy in 2009, and also Straight Edge Society was around that same time frame, if not a little later, I believe. And that was a group he had with Luke Gallows and Serena Deeb, who are both not in WWE anymore. But that really was, a period where Punk really showed a lot of what he could do. It was just a good period for Punk, I would say. Just something different for him in his range in terms of being a promo, leading a faction. And then, if you remember, and this was something I actually thought about the other day, very, very briefly, there was a period, and had to have been late 2010, if not early 11, where he was like leader of the new Nexus. In this period was just when WWE was in a mess creatively around that 11-12 period, late 2010s. But I do remember an episode of Raw where, this was shortly after the original Nexus disbanded, which would have been around SummerSlam 2010. So maybe it was a few months after that, where he was in the ring, and at the end of the show, I think he had laid John Cena out, and he picked up a Nexus wristband. I remember that clearly. And then, once we got to mid 2011, the famous, the Summer of Punk and the feud with Cena, pipe bomb, all that stuff, and the rest is history. But this focuses again on his earlier time in WWE, and we're going to see, the other figures in this series. We have Randy Orton, AJ Styles, Jake the Snake Roberts, Kiana James, who has fell off the face of the planet. Kiana James, I think she's injured, but I don't see her being long in WWE. Yeah. And again, love these main event series, because you get these, what I call these gems, every so often, this totally just kind of throwback figures of your favorite current superstars. So when I saw this, I was like, yes, definitely have to get that. And I don't have a ton of CM Punks anyway. And actually the only CM Punk figures I have gotten since he's been back in WWE have been kind of his throwback figures. I got the one that came in the Randy Orton 2-pack, and that was like from around circa 2010. And then I think there's another Punk figure I may have gotten, but yeah. And also, hope you all love this Rey Mysterio shirt. This is like one of my favorite wrestling shirts. Not my favorite wrestling shirt ever. Love this shirt. And yeah, so basic figure. You see that the head scan is, not the most, I don't know, I can't say it's not the most accurate, but I don't really have a problem with head scans like that, like some, collectors do. I think this gets across his, sinister, almost cult-like leader vibe of, that period when he was the head of the Straight Edge Society. You look at his eyes, they are almost like, appear to be kind of bloodshot in a sense. If you look really closely, he has a, smirk on his face, the very long hair. And if you do not remember, also from this period, he actually lost his hair in an hair versus max match against Rey Mysterio. And I think that was like it maybe Extreme Rules 2010, if I'm correct, or something like that. So yeah, so again, you know, the nice long hair, the tattoo, very detailed tattoo work. You see the X, you know, the straight edge, you know, the X um, on the hands. You see the straight edge tattoo across the chest, across the torso, stomach. Um, the red and black attire with the stars, and yeah, a very just clean, solid figure of Punk in his younger days. And again, yeah, can't say nothing bad about this figure. Again, nice main event series, kind of basic level figure, but looks great and nice addition to the collection. Is getting some older, you know, Punk figures, so like it a lot. And again, I just hope you all are doing good. Just a little bit about what I've been through lately. Just came up on my 11th wedding anniversary. My wife and I actually just got back in not too long ago, so we had a nice trip out of town, just kind of getting away from things, taking things easy, and back in the saddle now. But again, just want to thank you all for guess the likes, the comments. Definitely just thank you all for checking out my stuff. As I always say, you could be looking at so many other videos on YouTube, but you chose to look at mine, so I definitely appreciate that. Just be on the lookout for more great content coming, and I will talk to you again after a while. Take it easy.